This is English for Specific Purposes, Level B1. We are your hosts. I'm Miss Thათία and this is
Mr. Deril. Today, we are going to talk about more on the business topic, and it is in particular brands, everyone's favorite topic.
Yes, today we're going to talk about business again, and we're going to read a very interesting text. But before we go to the lesson, I think that we need to look at the agenda.
Today we will begin with an introduction. Then we will have a look at vocabulary that we have chosen for this text. We'll have a look at the text, and then we will move on to grammar. Today it is present continuous. Present continuous. We will summarize everything at the end and then give you your homework.
Yes, absolutely right. ჩვენი გაკვეთილი ყოველ ბიზნესს შეეხება. გაკვეთილის პირველ ნაწილში გაგაცნობთ ახალ სიტყვებს. შემდეგ წავიკითხავთ ტექსტს. ამის შემდეგ გავეცნობით გრამატიკას. დღევანდელი გრამატიკის თემა აწმყო განგრძობითი დრო. შემდეგ შევაჯამებთ გაკვეთილს და ბოლოს ჩვენი საყვარელი დავალება. Okay, let's start. So, Deril, we said that today's topic is a business and especially brands. We're going to talk a lot about brands at this lesson. So, I want to ask you, what's your favorite brand? Do you have one?
Good question. I think like many people around the world, everyone's got their favorite brand. I love football, so I'm going to go with sports brands for myself.
Oh, that's great. My favorite brands are luxury brands. I like them very much.
Yeah, there's a lot of fancy luxury brands out there.
Yes, there are. So let's move on. And before we move to the lesson, I think that we need to learn some vocabulary, right? Mm-hmm. Now let's look at our list. So our first word is brand awareness. Brand awareness is a noun. Can you define the word for us, Mr. Deril?
I'd love to. Brand awareness is when we, as a consumer, customers, we're aware of the brand. We know what's happening. We know what it's about.
Yes, I agree with you. And our example here is brand awareness has increased over the last 2 years.
That's always good news when your brand awareness is increasing.
Yes. So brand awareness is a noun, and in Georgian it means brandis ცნობადობა. Brand awareness, brandis ცნობადობა. Brand awareness, brandis ცნობადობა. Now let's together.
Brand awareness.
Now let's move on, and our new word is brand stretching. Brand stretching is a noun. What is the meaning of brand stretching, Mr. Deril?
Somewhat related to brand awareness. This means when a company stretches out its influence, its image, to take in other products. So suddenly, we have a brand that is not associated with one thing, but with many more things.
Yes, agree with you. So, and our example here is tobacco companies are using brand stretching to get their names established in other areas. So brand stretching is a noun, and in Georgian it is brandis გაფართოება. Brand stretching, brandis გაფართოება. Brand stretching, brandis გაფართოება. Together, brand stretching. Now let's move on, and the next word is customer engagement. Customer engagement is a noun, and I think that this is interest of the customers, right, Mr. Derill?
That is correct. That is customer engagement.
Yes. So, for example, the new marketing campaign increased customer engagement. Usually, marketing campaigns are meant for increasing customer engagement.
And that will build productivity and build revenue.
Yes. So, customer engagement is a noun, and in Georgian it is მომხმარებელთა დაინტერესება. Customer engagement, მომხმარებელთა დაინტერესება. Together, customer engagement. And our new word is loyalty. Loyalty is a noun, And this is when the customers are loyal to this or that brand, so they go there and buy this product and brand repeatedly. Am I right, Mr. Derill?
You are right. And if you are a business owner, you would want to build customer loyalty.
Yes, that's what companies strive for, right? So loyalty is a noun, and in Georgian it is ერთგულება. Loyalty. ერთგულება, loyalty. ერთგულება. Together, loyalty. Okay. Now let's move on, and here we have product placements. It's a noun, and can you tell us the definition of the word product placement, Mr. Derill?
I'd love to. It's fun to see product placement because what happens is the company pays for its product to be prominent, to be shown somewhere, such as a movie, TV show, or some other kind of media format.
Yes, and very often we see lots of products and brands on TV in programs and films, and we even cannot realize that this is advertising, a way of advertising.
I think it's a greatly effective way to advertise, in
Yes,
fact.
I agree with you. So, product placement is a noun, and in Georgian it is რეკლამის განთავსება, პროდუქტის სატელევიზიო ინტეგრაცია. Product placement, რეკლამის განთავსება, პროდუქტის სატელევიზიო ინტეგრაცია. Now let's together. Product placement. Okay. Okay, I think that we've finished with the words, and it's time to practice, and it's time to check how well we remember the words we've studied, right? Mr. Derill, let's read the definitions of the words and try to match the definitions with the words above. So the first definition is the following. The process of using an existing brand name for new products or services that may not seem related. And I think I know the answer. It must be brand stretching.
I think you are right. That is exactly the definition as I remember it.
Okay, let's check. And here we are. Yes, we are right.
Well done.
Brand stretching. So the next statement, the next definition, please read Mr. Derill.
I'd love to. The next sentence is, what is it called when you are buying the same brand regularly?
Oh, I think I know the answer. When you go and buy the same brand regularly, it means that you are loyal to that brand. So a noun will be loyalty. So here we are, loyalty, and we are right.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Go ahead and read the next one.
Okay. So the next definition is advertising by placing an item in a television program or film. And we talked a lot about it. Do you remember?
I
So
do.
what is the word?
I think this is product placement.
Absolutely right. Okay, now let's move on, and
Here is the next one. Knowledge of the name of a company and the product it sells.
I think it is brand awareness. We talked about it when customers know about the brand, have information about the brand. It is called brand awareness, and we're absolutely right.
Perfect.
Okay. And I think that the final answer is obvious, but let's read it. So customer interest is called customer engagement. And here we are.
Excellent. It's almost like synonyms of each other.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I think that we have to move to the next part, which is reading section, and we are going to read a text. But I think that before we read a text, we need to know some words to understand the text.
Definitely. We have a lot of big and interesting words to come.
Yes, yes, and let's see what words we have. So the first word on our list is to satisfy. To satisfy is a verb, and what is the meaning of satisfy, Mr. Derill?
To satisfy is to please someone by kind of giving them what they want or what they asked for. You satisfy their interest or expectations.
Yes, absolutely right. And here we have an example. The company tries to satisfy all the requirements of their customers. I think that's what all companies do, right? They try to meet and to satisfy the needs and the requirements of their customers. So, satisfy is a verb, and in Georgian it is დაკმაყოფილება. Satisfy, დაკმაყოფილება. Satisfy, დაკმაყოფილება. Let's say together, satisfy. Okay, now let's move on to the new word, and this is demand. Mr. Derill, is this word a verb or a noun?
Demand. It is a noun.
But it can be used as a verb.
It definitely can be used as a verb depending on the way you construct the sentence.
Yes.
In this case, we have a noun, and the definition, if I can offer it, is when there's a need for something that your company can provide to the customer.
Yes, absolutely right. So demand in Georgian is მოთხოვნა. Demand, მოთხოვნა, demand, მოთხოვნა. Let's say together, demand. Okay, and our next word is consumer, and it's a noun, and I think that it's a synonym of customer. Is it? Am I right?
I think you are exactly right. Now, consumer is someone who consumes, that means purchases products to use for themselves at home.
Yes, you're right. And consumer is a noun, and in Georgian it is მომხმარებელი. Consumer, მომხმარებელი. Consumer, მომხმარებელი. Let's say together, consumer. And the next word is target. Target is a noun, and I think that this is something we aim at. For example, in case of business, target is the group of people who we are aiming at. I mean, who we want to sell our product to.
Yeah.
Am I right?
The specific person or group of people that we want.
Yeah. Okay, so here is an example. Young consumers are the target of this company. So target is a noun, and in Georgian it is მიზანი სამიზნე. Target. მიზანი სამიზნე. Let's say together. Target. And the next word is retail company. Retail company is a noun, and I think this is a company which sells directly to the public, right?
Exactly.
Am I right?
Yep, you're right. There are a lot of retail shops, retail stores, and what they do is they sell product to the person or persons who then use it for their own purpose.
Yes, absolutely right. So retail company is a noun, and in Georgian it is საცალოდ მოვაჭრე კომპანია. Retail company, საცალოდ მოვაჭრე კომპანია. Let's say together.
Retail company.
Okay, and I think that we've finished with the words. Now it's time to read the text, a very interesting one about brands, right?
Indeed.
And about the consumers and their habits, right? Okay, before we move to the text, I think that we have to discuss some of the questions. Just, do you have your favorite shop, or where do you generally shop?
Well, I'll say this. I prefer malls where there's a wide choice of shops. In a mall, you have everything there. You have shoe shops, you have music shops, you have clothing shops, you have everything together. And I think I would say I prefer shopping at a mall.
Really? Okay, so I don't agree with you.
No.
So this personally, I prefer to buy at a small shops. It's a street shops where I usually go, and I have my favorite ones, and I always know that they provide the goods I really want.
You know, I agree with you. Those small shops are often more fashionable, and aren't they called boutiques?
Yeah, kind of boutiques, and they are my favorite. Okay, now I think that it's time to read the text. ახლა კი გადავიდე წაკითხulis გააზრებაზე. წავიკითხოთ ტექსტი, შემდეგ კი ვუპასუხოთ შეკითხვებს. At over 1 million square meters and with over 1,200 stores, the Dubai Mall is an absolute monster in mall terms. The 750,000 people who visit it every week can find almost any product to satisfy their demands. As monuments to modern consumerism, such mega malls can be seen as natural home for Generation Y, the biggest spending and highest demanding generation of consumers that the world has ever seen.
Generation Y is the name given to the group of people born between the late 1970s and the 1990s. Their lifetimes have coincided with huge changes in the way we spend our money, and members of this group are demonstrating more and more similarities across a range of countries and cultures. When it comes to shopping, Generation Y thinks big. While their parents' generation may well have known many store owners personally, members of Generation Y are more likely to buy from huge multinational companies such as H&M or Zara.
While consumers of Generation Y era can choose from a huge range of products at giant shopping malls, they have even more choice online. In just over a decade, internet shopping has seen an explosion in growth. Gen Yers are a prime target for retail companies because of their spending power and attitude to shopping. In the US alone, their purchasing power as a group stands at $108 billion. And if they don't have enough money to buy what they want, they turn to their good friend, the credit card.
Unfortunately for companies, Gen Yers are considered the hardest group to satisfy, as they want products and services to be adapted to meet their needs as individuals. They are unlikely to believe any advertising message and expect any problems to be solved immediately. If a company can use technology to personalize its products and services, it might just gain the loyalty of the least loyal customers in history.
And now I think we have to check how well we remember the text and how well we have understood the text, right? For that we need to do the task. You will see the statements on the screen and you have to decide whether the statements are true or false. ეხლა კი შევამოწმოთ როგორ გვახსოვს ჩვენს მიერ წაკითხული ტექსტი. So the first statement is, Generation Y prefers to shop in huge malls. Mr. Derill, what do you think? Is it true or false? Do you remember?
You know, Ms. Thათია, I do believe that this was true.
I'm not quite sure, by the way. Let's check. So in the text we read, as monuments to modern consumerism, such mega malls can be seen as a natural home for Generation Y. So it means that the statement is true.
Indeed.
Okay, our next statement is the following. Generation Yers tend to spend much money. What do you think? Is it true or false, Mr. Derill?
Yes, I would say that that is true.
True. Okay, let's check. So, in the text we read, Generation Y, the biggest spending and most demanding generation of the consumers the world has ever seen. So, it turns out that the statement is true. Okay, now our next statement is, it's easy to meet the needs of Generation Y. Is it easy to meet the needs of this generation, Mr. Derill?
You know what, I think I remember them being a little difficult to satisfy, so I'm going to say false.
They have some special demands, right? Okay, let's check. So Gen Yers are considered the hardest group to satisfy, so you were right. This statement is false. Okay. I think that now it's time to move to grammar and let's look at the sentence we have. Members of this group are demonstrating more and more similarities across range of countries and cultures. Mr. Derill, is the sentence about present, past, or future? What do you think?
It is about the present.
Yes. And does this sentence show a trend?
Yes, it does, because of the more and more section.
Yes. So the sentence shows a trend, and generally, when we talk about trends, we can use present continuous. Yes. So today's topic is present continuous.
Excellent. So now we have formally moved into the grammar section. We are talking about present continuous, and we use this very useful tense to talk about several things. First of all, we talk about something which is happening before and after a specific time. Here's an example to help. At 9 o'clock, we are usually having a meeting on most days. Here's a second way the present continuous is used. It shows something which we think is temporary for a short time, for example. So here's an example to make it clear. I am working in London for these 2 weeks to come. Here's another way. We use present continuous to also talk about something which is new and contrasts with a previous state. Here's an example. These days, most people are using email instead of writing letters. Here's another way that we use present continuous. Something which is changing, growing, or developing, as we mentioned earlier. Here's another example. The demands of customers are changing. One more way we can use the present continuous, and it is something which happens again and again. Here's an example. Those two colleagues are always arguing. And here's something new that we're bringing to this, the continuous family. You can also use it to talk about fixed plans in the near future. So here's an example to make it clear. The company is launching a new advertising campaign very soon. So in these ways, we can use the present continuous. There are different ways to use it in the affirmative or the positive sense. You need the subject, you need the to be verb, and then you need the verb that you're going to use plus ing. Here's an example. She is talking. Now in the negative form, we have the subject, we have the to be plus not, and then the base verb plus ing. She is not or isn't talking. Now in the interrogative form, we use the to be verb, we use the subject, and then we use the base verb plus the ing. So, for example, is she talking?
Okay, I think that we have finished with grammar. So again, we use present continuous tense for the actions which are happening now at the moment or around now. They express temporary situations. Now let's look at the exercise, and let's see how well we can use this tense in the sentence, right? So as you can see, Mr. Derill, we have prompts and we have to make up sentences using the prompts and using the correct tense. Let's look at the first one. Customers become more and more demanding these days. I think that this sentence shows a trend, a changing situation. So for trends and changing situations, we have to use present continuous. So how would you say this sentence, Mr. Derill?
I would say customers are becoming more and more demanding these days.
Absolutely right. This is the right answer. Now let's move on to the next sentence, and we have again prompts, and let's make a sentence. We currently work on a new project. So the word currently shows that the action is going on Now, at the moment, it's in progress. So we can again use present continuous tense, and we have to say, we are currently working on a new project. And I think that this is right. Now, Mr. Derill, can you help me with the next sentence?
I would love to. Here's the sentence. We have the situation in the company change very fast. How would you do that?
I think that it shows changing situation, and we've agreed that with changing situations we use present continuous tense. So I would say the sentence like this: the situation in the company is changing very fast. And I'm sure that it's right. Let's check. Here you are.
Well done.
Right.
Well done. Let's give you one more.
Yeah.
They always miss important meetings.
Yes. It's a little bit confusing, Mr. Derill, because I can see here always. So, but I think that this sentence shows irritation, right? So in this case, I can also use present continuous and say, they are always missing important meetings. I want to show that I'm angry with them, right?
Excellent.
And I'm right, I think, right?
Normally you would have used present simple, but because of this always and because of the irritation, we are using
present continuous. I think that we've finished with the sentences, and the end of the lesson has come, right? Let's summarize it quickly and then give a homework, okay?
We talked about vocabulary. As you remember, we did a reading on generation Y, and we did a grammar exercise on the present continuous.
Great, and now it's time for homework. And I'm really interested, what will be the homework today? And the homework is, you have to write a paragraph describing your favorite brand.
I think a lot of people will enjoy talking about their favorite brand.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of favorite brands. And here is the model for the homework.
And you can see that online at the address provided on the screen.
Yes, and where should they upload their homework?
To the same address.
To the same address. Okay. გთხოვთ დავალება ეკრანზე მითითებულ მისამართზე გამოაგზავნოთ. Our lesson has come to an end. We'll see you in the next week. Bye.
Bye.